So why can we eliminate in Australia? Essentially modelling done by Peter Bickman and Natasha Martin and their team and Matthew Hickman produced a model where it essentially said in terms of stopping the transmission of hepatitis C is that if we treat people who inject drugs, we can impact on the ongoing transmission of the virus. And importantly, we don't have to treat everybody today, but if we treat it depending on the background prevalence in your population, maybe 20 or 640 or 60 people who inject drugs per 1,000 injectors, that we could substantially reduce the prevalence of hepatitis C. So this was a really important thing, because up until then, people have thought this was just a hopeless situation, that we were not going to be able to eliminate transmission. But what Peter and Natasha's models showed us that this was actually something we could be looking to achieve. They've done further modelling with us and with Greg and Jason and others at the Kirby. And as well, we've done work on our network studies, which a number of you will be familiar with, where what we basically showed was that combining Peter and Natasha's models and work and looking at the Melbourne and the Victorian and the Australian situation, that if we use different treatment strategies, where in particular if we think about the injecting network, we don't inject on our own, we inject with other people, and that that person injects with that person, that if we treat the network, that we can have a bigger impact. And if you include what we call a treat your friend strategy, so I treat a patient, but I treat their immediate injecting partners if I can, further reduces the prevalence, we get better bang for buck. And what our work showed is that we can have a far greater effect for it. And it's really simple with these new treatments. With the old treatments, this would have been impossible because of the significant side effects. You just had to treat one person in a group, let them recover, then treat the next, particularly if you're talking husband, wife or partners. Whereas now you just say, bring everybody in. And like I had that discussion with somebody today, you know, is your partner being treated? She said, yes, they're going through treatment at the moment. Good, let's treat you. If you've got anybody else you're injecting with, bring them in, let's get everybody treated. So this treat your friend strategy. And what we've shown with models using, taking this into account, so Nick Scott, who's in CPOP, has done some really lovely models and some work that's just been accepted in gut, is essentially showing that if we only treat people with significant liver disease, we can impact, so that's that top arrow, we can bring the prevalence down to around just over 30% while stopping people from dying. So if we just take that, treat people with severe disease, we can stop the deaths. But by 2030, we've still got significant prevalence of hepatitis C in the population. But if we take a dual approach, if we treat the people in the first few years with significant disease, this is easy, they're in our hospitals at the moment with liver disease of stage 3 and 4, where you're at risk of getting sick from your liver disease. But as well, if we treat current injecting drug users, so people injecting drugs right now, not only do we stop the deaths, but we also reduce the background prevalence in the community to less than 10%, so we stop transmission. And we only need to treat as many as really, it works out to be about 58 or 59 per 1,000 people who inject drugs annually to achieve this. Or in Australia, that's about 4,000 to 5,000 people that we're basically aiming to treat. So if you think about that, if we treat 5,000 to 6,000 or more, and Greg will tell you some numbers, so this is achievable, of people with just liver disease, significant liver disease to stop the deaths. We only need to treat 5,000 to 6,000 of people who inject drugs to basically have it eliminated by 2030 Nick's models, but if we really up the ante, we can do it before that. So, what do we need to do this? We need people diagnosed, we need people engaged in care, we need models for care that suit the affected communities. This is not about waiting for people to come and see me at clinic, but going out to them. It's about harm reduction, vaccine development, addressing stigma and discrimination, and workforce development. This will not happen by chance. We've got a really great tool. We've got some great tools. We have to go and take those tools and do the work now.